Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another StarCraft 2 broadcast. I am Anaris, here today to bring you a best of series from the Intel Extreme Masters tournament taking place in New York City. Let's go ahead and introduce the players here. We do have Dongray Gu of Team Complexity MVP spawning as the Blue Zerg down in the bottom right position. His opponent is the feared imbaStrelok, the Red Terran, down in the bottom left. And I would just like to say that before this game gets started, I have been following DRG for some time, and I think that he has an exceptionally strong ZvT style of play. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of Idra's style of kind of just building up towards that mid to late game style of play, but I find that DRG is a little bit more aggressive. You know, that's not to say that Idra is not aggressive, he certainly is, but I feel like watching DRG, he just constantly pokes around at his opponent with the Mutalisks, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if he is going to be able to break Strelok here today. In particular, you know, he has said in the past that even he feels that his best matchup is against Terran. He says he has an easy time with it, and from what I've seen, that's absolutely true. Now, Strelok over here, on the other hand, we do have him opening up with a 1 Rax gas. He's going to be closing off the ramp. Everything is pretty typical there. I unfortunately I have not been following him too terribly much. I apologize to you Strelok fans, but I am sure, I mean, I've heard the name before. I've seen a couple of his games here and there. So I know that he is a very capable player, very strong mechanics, etc. So I'm going to be looking for him to try to challenge DRG's current feeling that he can pretty much just kind of handle Terran easy peasy. So we're actually going to watch the builds now and see with that gas. He's going to go ahead and drop a tech lab. I'm really thinking that with this, he's either going to go ahead and flip down a factory, which we'll see. He does have 40 or so gas right now. What I'm waiting to see if he's going to be getting a Reaper or if he's going to be doing... Okay, so now we go. The SCV is coming off the gas, so I believe we are going to have that Reaper. Sure enough, there it is. If you think about it, it's kind of a logical path to take here. They're both spawning down in the bottom position, close by air, and the Terran can easily abuse this in the early game by accessing the Reaper technology. Jump the cliff down, jump back up, harass, keep an eye on the Zerg, try to delay that drone production, maybe force the Zerg into, you know, getting a few extra Zerglings, maybe a couple more than he wants to, some base defenses, anything that he can delay that lair tech where DRG really kind of explodes with those balls and, you know, the Ling and Fester Bling style of play that he goes for in ZvT. I think that moving forward here, both of these players are going to be in fairly strong positions. Terran, of course, going for that expansion, and Zerg already having claimed his own, largely uncontested. Now, we do have, actually, that Reaper has finished, and we're going to be having it come across the field right there, and pretty much just going to come up to the expansion, check it out. Not really heading this way. Probably not a bad idea, considering the fact that it's very likely that an Overlord was going to be there, so it would have spotted that, and the Zerg could have anticipated it. At best, he could have maybe forced a reaction of dropping a Spine Crawler, maybe a few extra Zerglings, but really, this Reaper is just going to be for scouting out, and that's going to be about it. So, as far as DRG is concerned, looking at the income right now, 22 to 24, so you see he's just now starting to get a little bit of gas there, mining off of 1 extractor with 1 drone. Likewise, over here, Strelok is actually opening up with a double command center build. Now, this is very risky, and I'm wondering if he's being a little bit too greedy here. We see him going ahead and getting a reactor. Also got that factory coming for the siege tech. Sure to be on the way here as time goes by. So, with DRG having not claimed a third base here, I'm really curious to see what he's going to be doing in the next couple of minutes. He does have a Roach Warren going down, so looking at what he has actually scouted out for his opponent, really not that much. He doesn't know that either of those expansions have been placed just yet. Of course, he does have an Overlord barely out of vision or out of shooting range for this Marine right here, but look at this coming up with the Zerglings now. He's going to spot one of these command centers right here. He does not spot the other one, though. So with this bunker going down, it kind of tells DRG, okay, there's a factory, but there's only, one Marine that I saw, so very likely that he's going to be doing some sort of teching and something that I could possibly abuse. So he's got several roaches on the way. His economy is looking pretty good too, 31 to 28 in terms of harvesters. And looking at the APM right now, just for those of you that are concerned with such things, 110 to 107. Back to the production tab, you see Siege Tech is about 50% complete. He does have one tank, just now started a second ago. Oh man, I'm not really sure that he's going to have enough defenses in order to really hold off this attack. He does have one siege tank already with the high ground, but again, remember, with all of these roaches coming in, he's going to be able to outrange the siege tank line of fire, which is going to extend about right here. You see actually the run by getting a nice surround on the bunker, preventing any sort of repairing, and now you're going to see DRG come up here. Oh, here's a free siege tank kill. No, that is not what Strelok wants to have happen. Fortunately, that siege check has completed. It is really critical that he does not allow this ramp to fall. He's got to keep the siege tank right here alive, which you see he is splitting up the SCVs to repair the depot and the tank, all the while suffering fairly heavy casualties down here. Just take a look at the workers and units lost so far. You see 21, 13, 0 to 7, and as far as resources lost, actually not too bad. It's about 300 resource difference there. Oh, tank, gotta watch that, man. He is going down super close to those roaches and zerglings. I believe they actually, did not see it. That is just extremely lucky for Strelok there. But he will be in a good position moving forward to get rid of this containment that is currently taking place at his natural. But notice something kind of interesting. DRG has not used this opportunity to take a third base. He's still just sitting on 2 right now, which kind of makes me wonder if he's going to be going for just sticking with this right now. He could be going for another attack here fairly soon because, well, actually, let's just take a look. DRG, has he spotted that extra command center? No, he has not. So he still just thinks his opponent is going to be running 2 base here as his roaches do encroach upon the Marines. Not really the best decision there. So he does decide to go ahead and just retreat with what he has left. This containment not really going to be effective for much longer since Strelok, I mean, like I said, the fact that he had that siege tech complete when it did really helped him contain the amount of damage that was able to be done by DRG here. But we see a third has now gone down for DRG, and it's not a moment too soon. Now, we do have several spine crawlers going up. DRG just anticipating a possible counterattack, wants to be ready for that. Now, we actually see his spire is just about complete. Looking at his gas built up, he's got about 600 or so. He should have 700 by the time that spire pops, and I'm anticipating that's going to be going towards Mutalisk. But keep in mind, he also does have a spire, or not a spire, but a baneling nest, rather, and he's obviously going to be able to use that to great advantage as well. So here comes the mutas now, 8 of them total as the gas continues to rise. Let's actually take a look back at Strelok's base for a second here as he continues to focus very heavily on what will likely be Marine Siege Tank. This is just, again, pretty typical TBZ style of play. Does rely very heavily on good Marine micromanagement to avoid the splash damage from the banelings. Of course, we do have that combat shield upgrade on the way. That is, again, a very critical component of this build. It has to do, I mean, I know I've explained this before, but I'll do it again for some of the newer viewers, newer players, etc. When a Marine stems, it takes it down to 35 hit points, and, oh man, I'm actually going to have a break in that real quick because the mutas are going to be coming and starting to harass. Oh, one Marine is going to be going down. Got to watch out. He has to protect that medevac there, as that is crucial to this build here in the next couple minutes as the mutas continue to run around. DRG is going to begin his reign of terror with the air dominance here, as he actually is going to be heading back for just a little while. Keep in mind, he does have complete map control right now. The Terran is pretty much just contained to 2 bases, really limited to, keeping this command center up here, which DRG, having spotted that now, is kind of keyed into the fact that Terran's going to be looking to take a 3rd base here in the next couple minutes. Notice he also has a little bit of extra energy built up on that, but look at what Terran's doing. He's just going to go ahead and counterattack. He knows that pretty much the Zerg at this point in time has most of the gas invested into this Mutalisk army, which is quite vulnerable to what the Terran has. The only other real threat here are some Zerglings, and again, Strelok knows that, so now is a great time for him to press forward. But anyways, what I was going to say about the Marines is that if they stem one time, they will be vulnerable to a one-hit kill from a Baneling, which you're going to see those Marines get taken out very quickly right there. But keep in mind, the rest of the forces have retreated. They're not going to follow a similar fate. And looking around now, so far, the units lost, you see it has kicked up a little bit in the Terran's favor, about a 400 resource difference right there, as he does look to take his third base. We look up here, you see DRG keeping an eye on that expansion up top, while he takes a fourth, of course, the third getting saturated right now as we speak, and the Muta harass continues as this game unfolds. We see actually, ooh, we could have some Thors here coming very soon. Also, we can expect to see additional upgrades in the very near future, which is something that STRelok is really going to have to do, especially if this Muta harassment continues. You know, obviously Marines extremely powerful, but, you know, if you can get those upgrades going, out-upgrade your opponent who currently has 0-1, then you're going to be in a fantastic position. You are going to see those turrets taken out right there. Again, those Mutas coming in at the crucial time just before those defenses. Oh, look at that, the armory delayed as well. That's really going to hurt the timing for STRelok's push, as we see that he will have to wait even longer for those Thors. As the SCVs continue to drop, we look at the workers, 81 to 52. That is an incredible economic lead for the Zerg player. You see, he has got the gas to boot, and really the Terran, he has just got to do something right now to secure himself, his mineral lines, because that is going to be the absolute most important thing here, is to try to strike at the Zerg player somehow, some way, and do some economic damage. Now, keep in mind, we do have a drop here, and this is kind of what STRelok's hoping to do here in terms of that economic damage I was talking about. Try to take out some of these drones. You see 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, 6 total, 7 going down, as the Zerg is forced to give a very strong response to this. I mean, just one drop, man, taking out the gas, several drones, definitely paying for itself here. And all this lost mining time, as well as bringing the army away from the Terran base, allowing him to get up the sensor tower and just generally feel a little bit more secure, confident down in this portion of the map. Of course, this drop was taken out, again, to be expected with such a strong response from DRG. Just looking at the income now, 62 to 82. Back to the production tab, you see he has been able to rebuild those drones rather quickly. Looking down at this part of the map, you see he is anticipating another drop down here, which really should not surprise anybody. They're close by air positions, so the Mutalisk harassment was to be expected. Not only from ZvT, but just the spawn positions being what they are, but also, you know, the Zerg is going to be anticipating drops continuing throughout this game, and that's something we should expect to see. He's got plenty of Marines to do so. Anything that he could do, just basically keep the Zerg on his side of the map, will be absolutely crucial until he can get out those Thors. He has 2 on the way, as well as 9 Marines right now, so that comes from having several reactors down in the main base. Turret gets taken out, even more workers as well. Decent response there from STRelok, committing just enough Marines to keep these Mutalisk on their toes while allowing the sword to come in here. Oh, nice splash shot. Not actually able to take out any of those Mutas. May be able to get one more shot in. 1 Muta, 2 Mutas go down. That is another nice chunk of gas right there lost for the Zerg player. So far, resources lost. Now you see 50 or 5k to 4.5 as the Mutas are looking again for a more vulnerable target. We see weapons 2, armor 2 on the way for infantry, as well as vehicle weapons level 1 as he continues with the Zergling production. You see he has moved out towards the middle of the map with his army, and we do have the Terran player actually moving out. All the while there is a drop going down here in the lower portion of the map, which I do not believe the Zerg player sees. He will be avoiding this entirely, although it will be very easy for him to respond. We're watching over here. We have the biggest fight. We do have several Mutas taking those Mutalisks. Unfortunately for STRelok, if those missiles had actually hit in the bigger chunk, it would have done significantly more damage. Unfortunately for him, though, he was not able to do that, as I believe it was just auto fire. As we see, that drop has actually been fairly successful, taking out a decent number of drones as well as several Zerglings. Nice save there at the last second. DRG coming with the late infester, not quite able to nail a fungal on those Marines, which would have essentially just picked him off. But basically, if he wants to continue this, continue fighting against that drop, he's going to have to do something better than that late response. But keep in mind, he has been facing an uphill battle here for the last 30 or 45 seconds. While that drop has been taking place, the Terran has made a very strong push towards this expansion up here, which was taken out, just had started just had completed, rather, and was started spreading the creep, but now the Terran player Strelok has pushed up to this expansion, isolated the expansion from the reinforcements, so we are going to see this one go down. There are several mutas here. He's got to be careful, though. Right now, they're in such a tight ball. This one Thor could do so much damage here if he's not very careful. I believe we did see that there. And the Baneling's coming in as well with another fungal growth, but keep in mind there is a fresh batch of reinforcements over here. So many more Marines here to protect the siege tanks, and I think we're going to see DRG actually get cleaned up here as this expansion will fall, has fallen rather. And this one is very close to death as well. So far now, you just take a look here and see that the tides have definitely turned. Terran coming from a very strong 3-base play, taking out DRG, who was so committed to the late game, having a fantastic economy, was just not able to do enough damage to this very strong attack here that we have seen. Now keep in mind, we also do have another drop coming for Strelok. We'll be heading towards the main base with this Overlord. DRG does know it is on the way, but does not have anything to do to kill it with, and there's the GG, folks. So that is going to be it. We did have a ghost on the way in the final seconds of the game. As always, bring the lulls in ZvT with EMP infestors, etc. Let's go on to game number 2 and see what happens next.